Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings Dungeon Musings channel. My name is Kevin Vadison, and I was thinking of what I was going to call myself. This is what happens if I don't just improv it on the scene. And I will be your friendly Grand Meister tonight. Because tonight we're doing something special. We had something planned for tonight and for tomorrow morning, and unfortunately, because of scheduling, we're not going to be able to do that. So instead of what we had scheduled for those two sessions, we are trying a mashup that I had suggested to me by one of our roster players, Carl, and that I just couldn't get the idea out of my head, and that was to take Cubicle 7's excellent Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay RPG and mash it up with a Song of Ice and Fire RPG, as well as just generally information from the world of Westeros and the Game of Thrones, and hence we're going to be playing tonight Westeros Fantasy Roleplay. And with me tonight are the stars of tonight's session. I have called, what did I call it? I think The Coming of the Nine, I called it. Yeah, look at that. I may have fucked up my intro, but I remember the title. The session is called The Coming of the Nine. In this adventure, if you are a aficionado of the Game of Thrones setting, this will take place about 41 years before the events of A Game of Thrones, the book, or the first season of A Game of Thrones, the series. So this is almost a little more than 4 decades before that. Let me introduce you to the stars of tonight's session. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing tonight. First up, we've got Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Sir Byron the Bold.
Very nice.
He is a Hedge Knight.
Nice. Next up is Ingolf.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ingolf. I'm playing Aaliyah Blacktide, who is some kind of roguish spy character.
Very nice. Next up is John.
Hey everyone, I am John, and I'm playing Sir Rydrick Rain. He is an anointed knight of the House or Rain, right? Castamere?
House. You are originally of House
Yes.
House Rain, which has its seat in Castamere. You are currently serving House Sergeant of Broken Spire Keep. And last, but certainly not least, is George.
Hey everybody, I'm George. I am playing the young academic Maester Willem.
Very nice. So we're starting a little late because we're talking a little bit about the setting and about the time and whatnot. We've got a variety of levels of understanding or nerdistry about Westeros and the setting of A Game of Thrones or A Song of Ice and Fire. I will say that I'm on I know a fair bit about the setting, but I do not know. I'm going to screw some things up or intentionally get some things wrong. So I do apologize for if what we're presenting this evening does not match up with your expectations of Westeros. We're going to try and hit the tone as much as we can, but. And I will say that the background for this, the flag that is in the background of our image, should give you some indication of what might be to come given the time period. So, guys, we had discussed before we went on how you are all members of House Sergeant that has its keep in, or it's a holding in Broken Spire Keep. Let me show you the Reach here. So this is the Reach, and because you guys, or some of you are not super familiar with the setting, let me just show you this. This is Westeros in general. So right at the north, there is, the north is one of our, what is called the Seven Kingdoms. The north, the Neck, the Vale of Arryn, the Riverlands, the Crown Lands, which is where King's Landing, if you're curious where all the stuff in King's Landing is happening, that is where that occurs. The Stormlands are below that. The Reach, the Westerlands, the Iron Isles, and then far to the south is Dorne. The big things to know about the difference, so John, you were asking before about the Vale, what is it? The Moon Door. The Moon Door is in the Vale of Arryn, way up here in the area.
Yes.
The seating of House Arryn, because it was John Arryn who was the Lord at the time. House Rain and Castamere, they're setting is around here. And the reason that you guys are, or that you are down here in part, because you're such a, a devoted knight, there is no place in the Seven Kingdoms where chivalry is more celebrated and recognized than the Reach. It's said that chivalry originated from this region. And you guys are going to be around, I think it's right here in the Reach. We'll go to a map of the Reach, but this to give you context of, for one, how big the region is and how far away from, say, the north. So there is Castle Black way the fuck up there, right at the wall. Although all things being relative, of course, any, wildlings north of it will simply call anybody who's south of the wall as Southerners. This is the Reach. And one of the things that we've talked about a couple of places here before we started live. We were talking about High Garden, where the warden of the Reach, House Tully, is located, and that's right there. High Garden is kind of what you would think of as like an idyllic, kind of fairy tale chivalric kingdom. Let me show you a illustration of High Garden here, guys, to get a sense. So that's High Garden. And then and I didn't load one, unfortunately, but there's also Old Town, we talked about, which is right here. The center of the church, of the Meister Citadel, of the Hightower family. And there's a tower that is built on this, the Hightower, that is built on this black, greasy stone that is said to predate humanity, even before the coming of the first men. Martin is a big fan of Lovecraft too, George, so he has a lot of Lovecraftian stuff tucked away in different places here.
That's cool.
Does not bode well for us.
The reason I mention it is because the tower is I think it's the Old Tower. I can't remember the name of it right now, but the tower that is in Old Town, it makes up, it is the highest standing structure in Westeros. It's one of the wonders of the world. And it's said in legend, your holding, where House Sargent is located, which will be right around here, it was at one point something built to try to rival it. So it's called Broken Spire Keep because it was not structurally sound enough to go, but otherwise it has maintained that. One of the things that you do, there's that. House Sargent, I think, is a relatively recent bannerman. The banners are all the lesser lords that serve the wardens. So you would be a banner to either the Hightowers at Old Town or to the Tullys at High Garden. I'm going to suggest that you guys are banners to or House Sargent is a banner to Old Town. I think that you guys are a relatively recent one that was positioned there by a cadet family from the Reigns, which is partly why, Sir Ridrick, you've come down here. It's not uncommon for some famous, or some incredible event of heroics to lead to someone being given land and given title. And I think the Sergeant at some point, someone named Sergeant or with the surname Sergeant did this, and this was established, but they do have close relations to House Rain. My thought was that the connection between Old Town and Hightower and the Rains may be because the Rains, while the Lannisters are rich in gold from their gold mines, the riches of House Rain come from silver mines. That silver further up north in the Westerlands needs to get somewhere. So if it's being traded through here, perhaps there's some kind of financial arrangement at some point that was working with the people, the lords of Old Town, and them perhaps some heroic victory against some other, enemy or raiders from the Iron Isles, and that led to this. So, just to establish a connection between you two. But what I thought we'd do is roll a couple of other elements randomly, because that's what you do when you're making your house in the general game. We're not going to spend the full time fleshing out the full, the full house. I just want to get you guys some input from you guys on the history. One thing to think of too, each house has words. It's kind of a motto for the house. So I want you to consider, what are the words of House Sergeant? Sometimes they are, more often than not, the clever ones are, like, for instance, House Lannister, the unofficial words are, a Lannister always pays its debts.
For everything else, there's MasterCard.
Yeah. And that has the great double entendre to it, reflecting both their wealth and the lengths that the Lannisters will go in order to, get their way.
Yeah, that's good. I never thought about that.
Yeah. So, let's see here. These are for rolling up your retainers. Where's the histories? That's the stuff I'm interested in. Give me a sec here, guys. Here we go. All right. So we know that you are in the Reach. All right, let's just go one at a time here, guys. Jeffrey, would you give us a 7d6 roll, please?
Wait, 7d6s?
7d6s, yeah.
Yeah.
7, not 7-0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not 6 and 7s, yeah.
Yeah.
So these are things to bear in mind as you're picturing what Broken Spire Keep is like at present for House Sergeant. 32, you've got good defenses, almost certainly a castle, along with a few other strong points. Roads and rivers provide easy transportation. Alternatively, natural terrain features such as mountains or swamps provide additional fortifications. Ingolf, would you give us a 7d6 roll, please?
Yes, I'll try. Okay. 7. So,
Nice.
28.
Okay. 28. So for influence, it is a small minor house. So you have some influence in the region. You're not without it. Friends or other who have, who you're able to rely on or to pressure into doing things, but you're not, you're geographically limited in what House Sergeant can do. John, would you give us a 7d6 roll, please?
25.
Okay. For those listening at home, there are modifiers for the different realms. I'm just going to ignore that for the purpose of getting just a rough outline today. For the lands, a modest stretch of land, such as a medium-sized island. So you've got, in addition to whatever the defensive place is, you do have access to some actual arable lands as well.
Nice.
George, would you give us a 7d6 roll, please?
Sure. There you go. 27.
27. So this is law. Typical level of law throughout much of Westeros. Crime is common, but not out of control. Okay, so your law level is about what it is elsewhere in Westeros. Back to you, Jeffrey. Give us another 7d6 roll, please. 20. Small population, but no single community larger than a small town. So you got land, you've got a defensible place, things are pretty stable, but you don't have a pretty large population. Ingolf, again, 7d6, please.
21.
This is your power. You have access to a modest force of soldiers, including some trained troops. So you have some folks who can help you if you need to get in a fight, but you're not, fielding armies of knights or anything like that. And then, John, give us a 7d6 roll, please.
Come on, high numbers.
18.
18.
Wealth. Poor. Your family has little excess. While they are able to sustain themselves and their holdings, they do not live a life in luxury. Okay?
No wonder I'm working for somebody else.
Now, let's see here. George, we know you date from... Give us a 1d6 roll, please.
1d6. 6. 1.
Roll again. We want to have a couple of these.
All right.
I could just set it 4, I guess, because then everybody gets to roll 1.
6.
6. There we go. Okay, so here we go,
Ooh,
guys.
even better.
Then here are... we're going to roll up some historical events for the house. So I'd like each of you to please go ahead and take the narrative lead and figure out how this fits in. Let's start with Jeffrey. 3d6, please. And after rolling those 7d6, this is going to feel like a, chump roll, but I assure you, it's important. 17.
Whoa, that's a big roll.
Okay, so a historical event, conquest. Your family fought and defeated an enemy, annexing their lands and holdings to your own. With such a victory comes the trouble of old loyalties, weakening your house's hold and influence over the small folk. If conquest is your first historic event, which it is, you gained your noble status by defeating another lord or landed knight.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So we were trying to figure out how a vassal of House Rain ended up this far south. Any thoughts, Jeff, on how the conquest of Broken Spire Keep led to House Sargent having this as their holding?
Oh, man.
If you want, we can keep rolling along, and then we'll come back to you, and you can tell us after everyone else has rolled their first.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm not really sure.
Ingolf, give us a 3d6 roll, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Decline. Where is it here? I think there's a typo here. I think I mean descent. Yeah, it must be. Whether from a poor marriage, a downturn in trade, or a series of tragic losses in a conflict, your house entered a period of decline. If descent is your first roll, which it isn't. So you guys conquered and then seemingly saw a descent.
maybe people did not like the new rulers. I mean, that happens.
That could definitely be the case. Yeah, absolutely.
did some kind of shady stuff during that conquest and came back to bite them.
Well, one thing we'll talk. I've got some suggestions for the conquest. I think we'll be tying into sort of some big events that are coming up soon, Jeff. So I'll share what that is in a moment.
Yeah.
John, give us a 3d6 roll, please.
9.
Treachery. Either you suffered the results of treachery, or you were involved in committing a treacherous act. In either case, the historical event stains your name. Should treachery be your first, which it isn't. Okay.
I'm going to say victim of treachery because...
Yeah. Okay, yep, I buy that. So we'll think about what that might mean in a moment. And then, George, give us a 3d6 roll, please.
Okay. 15.
Villain.
Mm-hmm.
Your family produced a character of unspeakable cruelty and wickedness, a villain whose name is still whispered with dread. Such a character might have committed terrible crimes in his house, killed guests under his roof, or was simply just a bad person.
So maybe that would tie in with the treachery aspect, and possibly this was someone who was trying to take over after we went into this period of decline, thought they could do a better job.
Yeah.
Allied with some other force from outside of some kind.
So let me tell you guys about some recent history. Keen viewers at home will have recognized that the flag in the background, while there are the 3 dragon heads that is typically used in the sigil of House Targaryen, marking the 3 dragons that were used to conquer Westeros, they are red. These are black, because this flag is a flag of House Blackfire. And over the past roughly 50 years, House Blackfire has been a recurring threat to the stability of Westeros, leading to a series of Blackfire invasions or Blackfire wars. The 4 prior ones occurred between, we talked about Daemon Blackfire, who's actually, Blackfire is not his official name, it's the name of a Valyrian sword that he inherited and used, but they called him Blackfire because Daemon Waters he was a bastard, so he had Waters as his name. He, then his sons, then his other sons, then other descendants allegedly related to him have continued to invade from Essos. Across the sea is Essos, and there seems to be a never-ending supply of these Blackfire bastards who continually want to come in. It was a not insignificant amount of houses in the Reach in particular who allied themselves with at least the first Blackfire Rebellion, some even later on. There's a period called the Peak Uprising where House Peak, which had allied themselves twice with the Blackfires. Blackfires were Targaryens as well, and if you ask them, they did have a legitimate claim to the throne, better than what the king did. And so that is a persisting thing. It is the whole thing of having Daenerys across the sea trying to be the rightful queen and whatnot. This is an old story in Westeros, and started amongst the Targaryens with the split with the Blackfires. The Blackfire Rebellion has been happening, like I said, for the last 50 years. You were asking, Jeff, when we were talking about you overthrowing someone and perhaps them, they may have been one of the houses that was allied to House Blackfire.
Oh, yeah.
And that would give you enough.
Make a lot of sense.
If it was someone who rode with Daemon, the first of his name, Blackfire, then that would have been 61 years ago. So that's plenty of time for other shit to happen.
Oh, yeah, that would have been sort of before our time of these characters.
Exactly. So House Sargent would have only a couple of generations of time here, but it links into what's going on because the Blackfire Rebellions, they are things that continue to run throughout the history of this period. And to be honest, they also, not in the show, in the books, the Blackfires are still a presence and having an influence over the plot in them. So, that also might tie in with someone who betrayed on one of the later ones. The Blackfire Rebellions were 61 years ago. Then the second one was 46 years ago. Then the one after that was 39 years ago. And the most recent with Daemon the Third, who did not get further than landing in the West. That occurred only 21 years ago. So there are adults who would be around having just had kids who would have been born around that time, or survivors who are swearing vengeance for families betrayed. So if that has been a recurring problem, and again, it's also really located in the Reach. This is the Reach here. Let's put all our... Oh, I did not grab our... Oh, yeah, I did. Here we go. He was just taking his sweet time with all you guys populating. So, with that, knowing that's the history, a most recent... Let's see here. One of the... rebellions actually was not one of the Blackfire rebellions, which it really wasn't a rebellion. It was like 3 guys trying to get together with a deluded descendant of Blackfire who gets, yeah. They called him, he tries to charge and gets knocked off his horse into the mud, so they're all calling him the Brown Dragon. That was somewhere in the northern regions of the Reach. And that was about, that would have been about 40 years ago or so. But anyway, so what do you guys think about the treachery? Were you betrayed by somebody? Was there some leftover, residual person you relied on from the previous house? And when I say you, I mean House Sergeant, not necessarily your individual characters.
Guys have any ideas?
I mean, it would be nice.
Could have been the treasurer or something, and to help explain why we declined so quickly. Maybe embezzling money and betraying the house that way.
Yeah.
Secretly funding, like the previous maester was caught changing hands and whatnot, and plotting against the. The
maester is more a source of knowledge than a master of coin. Master of coin would probably be somebody different.
Gotcha.
Maesters have a kind of a weird position where they're like, their authorities, what they are responsible for is the Master of Ravens. So for sending word throughout the Seven Kingdoms into other things, they're the ones who are responsible for maintaining them, training them, sending messages and shit like that. Which also plays into the whole, Maester's conspiracy that we were talking about before we went live. If you control the means of like long distance communication, who's to say what messages are being received? So, but yeah, there could be a Master of Coin who could have you kept on, or the family kept on, and they wanted to betray them. Okay. And then what about the villain? Any thoughts on that? So it could be anything from one of the things that this region is described as well. While Dorne is, one of the Seven Kingdoms, Dorne has always been, it is extremely culturally different from the rest of the Seven Kingdoms. And it has only rarely bent the knee to the Targaryens. This whole region is kind of known as the Dornish Marches, in part because you have marchers who will patrol there because Dornish raiders will come over, or they'll try and conquer lands or whatnot and dispute them as being part of the Dornish kingdom as opposed to the Reach. So it could very well be someone who betrayed to Dorne. It could have been someone who betrayed someone to the Iron Isles or pirates. One of the things that is very true of Westeros, in particular for the Reach, because it's so close to a major point of oceanic travel, the Narrow Sea is so called because it's a relatively easily navigable place. So you can have people from foreign kingdoms in Essos, the kind of eastern continent, over here. It could have been somewhere over there who they betrayed themselves to. The Blackfires is an easy mark too, but what do you guys think? Who is your villain? This is your most recent historic event.
And one thing I like about the Blackfires, but I defer to anybody with a better idea, definitely, is the bookend with the way we got our land. Because it was an ally of the Blackfires, and so maybe, the Blackfires always still have their eye on this and want their revenge. And then somebody in our house, after the embezzlement happened and we went to a period of decline, thought like, well, I can do better than this group. I will get the backing of these people from Essos. To whether they, obviously they wouldn't have succeeded, this villain, but had made an attempt to maybe cause some really horrible harm to our house in some way. What do you guys think?
Like it.
So, like, betrayed us, an ally that betrayed us, basically.
That maybe somebody within our house actually betrayed us.
It could be like, if not the Lord, it could be, a brother or sister of the Lord who betrayed them and was sending funds out or sending things. We know you're not wealthy right now, but that's someone had suggested the idea of it's because it's been squandered.
Yeah.
Maybe financing something over there, just trying to rebuild another thing or build his own kind of house overseas, and then
And overseas are the free cities. There are not kingdoms over there. There's a bunch of different city states, effectively, that rule different parts of it, and most of those city states are former colonies of Valyria. So the freehold of Valyria, up until it was destroyed about 300 years ago, at the time of our game, these were all places that used to be colonies and subservient to it. And then Valyria fucking blew up, and all these places became independent. The reason that's worth noting is because you'll see some of your characters I've listed it as Old Valyrian. It's High Valyrian. High Valyrian is the language of Valyria. So because the Targaryens are of Valyrian blood, it's also kind of the it's not the lingua franca, that's the common tongue across the Seven Kingdoms, but the High Valyrian is what the people in court would want to speak, because it's the House Targaryen would speak High Valyrian. It's like Bastard or Low Valyrian is what is spoken in most of the colonies, but it's intelligible amongst one another. You'll note some of you guys have that stuff on your sheet too. So if it says Old Valyrian, just take it as Valyrian. I've also put down Westerosi because I forgot that it was called the Common Tongue. Any language listed there as Westerosi, it's the Common Tongue is what it is. There's also the Old Tongue, but that is generally only spoken when it is in the north. Because they still follow the old gods as well. They're just a bunch of barbarians who hide in their, snow houses. I mean, it's not like the Reach. Come on. So that is the history and the relative strengths of House Sergeant.
That already feels very House of Ice and Fire saga type, with the conquests and the family disruptions.
It's a tough time for old House Sergeant. So here's a couple of questions I got for you. For one, we're still focusing on the house itself. What is your crest? And what are your words? Knowing the history, conquest, betrayal, war with the Blackfires.
A broken spire.
A broken spire, yeah. And I wonder if, because Broken Spire maybe it's not as old as the tower in Old Town, but maybe it is like this old secret place like that, where there may have been secret ways in or something like that, ways that only the old inhabitants who lived here knew.
Maybe a half broken spire, because we're still here.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the spire idea. That's a good crest.
Okay. So your crest is a broken spire? Is there anything that sets apart? That's no doubt a pretty iconic thing. Is there anything that you have done to distinguish it from what might have been the old house's crest? Sometimes they change colors to be significant. Sometimes they change the background or the patterning on the crest.
Well, we came into conquering, right? So perhaps it was an older crest we took over, and then we flew a different flag in the crest. If
you want to kind of tip your hat to the originating house and the one which you still have a relationship with, it could be a white background with a red broken spire, the same colors that House Rain has.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Okay. And not just because I'm talking into the colors of the Canadian flag. I assure you that's surely not the way of shoehorning. So that is your crest. So you guys can picture that is the crest and the colors that you guys would use on everything. What are House Sergeant's words?
No.
And I'll see if I can give you some examples here.
Right.
And I'll go to the book here. like 4.
Yeah. I mean, couldn't we do something like broken, not beaten, or something?
I was just thinking like bent but unbroken.
Mm.
I was just thinking alliteration there. It's great minds, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
Yes.
Bent but not broken. Okay. So then that
I like
is,
it.
okay. So
Maybe
those are
bent
the
and
words.
unbroken.
What is that?
Just bent and unbroken.
Bent and unbroken. Okay.
Just need to straighten ourselves out, right?
Okay.
Straighten. I like it.
Yeah, it's a little bit paradoxical because we have the broken spire, but yeah.
I like
I mean, like unbroken when it is clearly broken, that doesn't really fit. But yeah, I mean that's one of the paradoxes of the motto, maybe.
Gotta leave a little bit of hope in there, right?
It could be aspirational of trying to rebuild, whatever failed. That could also be, honestly, that Broken Spire Keep may be a nickname. I've used it because it's an homage to our Night Below campaign. It could be a mean nickname that they give. It maybe the thing has like it's the Alpine Spire Keep or something like that, or Lone Spire Keep. But every time a family comes in and tries to build it, it fucking breaks.
Right.
If
That one fell into the swamp.
And that's why
Exactly.
It's, so much
Boom,
fun.
down, fell over, then took it to the swamp. It also, not to try and draw too much of a, because I was watching something about the Opium Wars recently too, but the whole like mandate of heaven, maybe there's popular superstition that like when the spire falls, the house falls.
Yeah, I was just thinking like we were discussing
that's
like
cool.
prophecy and Valerian like insights. Like perhaps we conquered because there was a prophecy we misread, and all of the losing our status and whatnot is because the funds have been dumped into raising this thing back, and we're just like fighting a losing battle here.
And depending on how dark the sense of humor is amongst the, with all the tragedy that's befallen House Sergeant since it's, taken this place, if you haven't had the funds or the opportunity to rebuild the keep, the house can't fall if the spire isn't built. So,
What I was thinking.
Exactly. So that gives us an idea of what House Sergeant is like. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. That's I really wanted to try and going through that so you guys could get a sense of who your characters.
I love how immersive things come together like that.
It's a really neat part of it's honestly like for the criticisms that the game gets, it's the one thing that is always the thing people say, oh, but the house creation was fucking cool.
Right.
How did your characters all come to serve here? No one picked the heir, so we don't have anyone who was born into this necessarily. And we know that Sir Redrick has come from elsewhere, but what brought each of your characters in to serve House Sergeant? That is one sort of assumption, is that you're unquestionably in service to the house.
I'm going to say for Sir Redrick, I am honor bound to pay a debt owed. Maybe there's a life debt that maybe a brother of mine or something had, and sending me down there as a show of support and my arm in battle would be a way of helping them out.
What if it was a Rain that betrayed you, married into House Sergeant?
Oh, and that's why I got pulled down here. Yeah, I'd work with that too. Yeah.
If your character is, because you were saying before how much your character's supposed to, like he's an anointed knight, he really embraces this stuff. What if they pick their most sparkling, shiny to try and be like, we need to remediate this relationship with our cadet house? So it's not technically a cadet house because you guys serve House Hightower, but that's an interesting position to put you in then, Sir Redrick. Do you want to be here?
Maybe mixed on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's reluctantly here.
Okay.
Honor bound, but kind of bound by his honor.
Okay. What about the rest of you guys? Maester? Aaliyah?
I was thinking, and I don't know the lore as well as most people, but something like there's like a, I can't remember what the highest level of people at the Citadel is, but it's like
Grand
in terms of Maester. Grand Maester, yes. Okay, so maybe. So I was been studying at the Citadel. We know that I'm young, so I've left earlier than I normally would in my course of studies. I wonder if perhaps for some reason the Grand Maester is concerned about this house and hasn't necessarily filled me in on exactly why. But I'm inferring from the choice of it being me that maybe it has to do with maybe the occult or some kind of dark magic, or there's a prophecy or something like that, because those are kinds of things I know a little bit about.
Yeah, so those things would be like, there might be the way that prophecy works in the setting is typically much broader. There's not like magicians, lurking out there. What would be an example from the book would be like there's a prophecy about the prince that was, I think it's the prince that was promised. It's that he will be built,
yes,
he will be born of I think it was salt and fire. And
I see. Okay.
There's so many people who have interpreted that to be different things, where it's like, is it metaphorical salt and fire? Or are they someone who was built like one of the characters in the books, the father of he's Jon Snow's father, maybe in the books. Definitely Jon Snow's father in the show. He thought that he was going to be giving birth to this kid. He was to be giving birth to Azor Ahai reborn, the first hero reborn. So he became completely obsessed with this. And it's little indiscernible things like that. So it could be something what might be to not like to add on to the idea and incorporate it. What if the old guy who you've come here to study with, what if he's absolutely lost his nut about some prophecy involving this stuff, and you've been having your own dreams, maybe not sharing that with the Grand Meister? So when he tells you you're going to be sent to study with Meister Karl, that you're like, at where?
Yeah. Right.
Does that still fit with what you were thinking?
I've seen a broken tower in my dreams. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm playing this kind of characters that I would like to play. So, there's astrology and prophecy and magic or whatever involved. So that all sounds great to me. Yeah.
So then you've come, and then Lord knows what influence he's had over you since there. Meisters
That's
also,
true.
Depending on how influential they are, because they are not necessarily part of a household, they can survive transitions. Between. So like, I think it's Meister Pycelle is the one who serves the Baratheons and then serves Cersei afterwards. He also served the Targaryens before. That guy is just like a fucking cockroach. He just cannot be killed.
Right.
Things are always coming up Pycelle.
Cool.
So
it's actually really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so it's possible that this guy has been here for at least the preceding things, and maybe it's the whole, like, the spire collapsing. There's something there that is caught up with your dream that you did not necessarily share. So, because prophecy does move people in the world too.
Right.
But
right. It's the belief in the prophecy that will cause people to take actions, even though there may be no real prophecy, or it may not be related to this thing that they think.
And it's a fun thing with the world he's built up too, is that like he wants there to be magic, but it wants people's reactions to magic and gods to be the way people are in the real world, where like people will disagree about stuff or get it wrong or do terrible things or grand things in the name of those things because of their beliefs. Right. Without any concrete proof of what is or is not actually the case. What about Aaliyah or Sir Byron? What brought you guys?
I would say that Aaliyah had to. Well, it would have been better to leave Old Town because maybe she's not the most welcome person there.
Yeah.
So and then she was looking for another where to stay, and maybe House Sergeant was something which was far away enough, but also small enough for her to gain influence, and then she just took a liking to those people in a way, because they were some broken down outcasts maybe, but someone who also had a hard life, and then she just felt at home there, and now she's a little bit skeptical about this Sir Riddick, because I mean, he's certainly here to do something nefarious, maybe like his ancestors. So this is something to have an eye on. Certainly. Was
Aaliyah? So first off, how do you want to pronounce her name? Aaliyah?
I think Aaliyah is fine.
Was Aaliyah here when the traitor reign was here, or did she come afterwards?
Maybe she was just new and then didn't get involved there, and learned that if you knew secrets early enough, you could have maybe done something earlier. So that is
okay.
A lesson learned. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. And then what about Sir Byron? What's brought this hedge knight to this pauper, house in the middle of nowhere?
Well, I mean, from what you've said, like, the hedge knights don't necessarily have a lot of say in who they get to serve.
They do. It's just they don't have any money. So, like, hedge knights don't actually have a master necessarily. So that's part of why they're the way that a lot of hedge knights will, for instance, make their living is they'll go from tourney to tourney to tourney and then try and win money at either the Grand Melee or at the lists, and then use that to keep themselves alive and equipped and hope they don't get defeated and have to ransom their armor, and then carry on doing that. Some might want to eventually try and serve some liege lord. Some just fall into banditry. Some just continue on as hedge knights until they die. And in at least one famous story, die without knighting their squire.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, spoilers for Knight of the Seven Kingdoms there, sorry. So, if you're watching this, you're probably not gonna be worried about the first couple of minutes of Hedge Knight. So, sorry, but what do you think, Jeff? Does that help with giving an idea of where he would have been?
Yeah, I feel like he seems like a drifter to me by nature. So maybe this is just the latest sort of place he's drifted into. It's not even that he's maybe he's not even that attached to it yet. Not in a unattached way, but you know what I mean? Like, he's just starting to fit in here. He's not necessarily like,
maybe he had a good showing at a local tourney
and got kind of invited to stay.
Yeah, and they're like, "You are a big lad. Would you like to, we'll pay you for whatever," because they have Sir Ridrick. They have a modest military, and I don't know if you guys have many other, if any other knights, really. So I guess one question then is, how do Sir Ridrick and Sir Byron feel about one another?
Ooh.
It depends on how Sir Byron became famous. Whether I think he's earned his knighthood or not.
Well, so long as he's been knighted by a knight.
I know. I mean, technically he's a knight.
Yeah, but he's not anointed like the way Sir Ridrick. You would have heard of Sir Ridrick as well, too. Like, he's a noteworthy... he's someone who has done something heroic that's talked about. And one of the, depending on how you feel about it, one of the places where they will constantly fucking talk about heroic knight shit is in the Reach. They love chivalry here.
Mm.
And that'd be a fairly stereotypical chivalry is a big thing in honor. So that's probably how I judge the worth of another knight, is how close they stick to that honor system.
Based on Ingolf's smile, I think he has an idea of how Aaliyah feels about Sir Ridrick.
Yeah. I mean, so Byron could be just more the pragmatic guy who actually, I mean, who was in a lot of fights. But I mean, that's for Jeff to decide. But
Yeah.
someone who is like the one who has this high vision of what knighthood is, and the other one who actually,
More realistic.
yeah,
Yeah, you've not had to fight, because you were, fight, a small bandit camp because you needed to do it in order to afford food, but also had the shits because you ate rotten food the night before. That is not shit that comes up in your stories, but does come up in Byron's.
Yeah, I think the biggest struggle Ridrick's going to have is dealing with that traitor relative of his, trying to maintain his actual honor in the face of public observance of his family not sticking up to it.
Yeah.
So he's going to expect that some people are not going to take him straight as a word, which will annoy him.
Is the traitor still alive?
I would say unless we actually caught him like red-handed, and we could definitely pin it on him.
So there's one of two things that could happen. Is one, it could be like that. Also, they could escape across the narrow sea. That is often where...
Yeah, maybe he escaped and didn't get justice, which is why everybody's still frowning about the whole situation.
He took the money and he came. He got away. So that's the worst thing.
Money buys one of the most influential mercenary companies. What is it? The Golden Company. The Gold Company is founded by someone who it was in the first Blackfire Rebellion, Bittersteel. He's the half brother of Daemon Blackfire. They founded that. He never got to see a Blackfire put on the throne. So when he died, they had him flense his skull down, dip it in gold, and they use it as a standard now. So they'll bring his gold skull into when a Blackfire finally sits on the Iron Throne.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're exceptionally drama queens. So
Yeah.
Targaryens tend to kind of run that way, whether they're bastards or not. So does that help with why Sir Byron is here?
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. I mean, he was traveling. He's a drifter. There was some kind of a tournament. He made a good showing and kind of got invited to stay.
Okay.
And he's just sort of, I mean, maybe it's working out because, he's getting good meals here. He's getting, or decent meals anyway, and an actual bed to rely on. And so, he's happy for now. That's for sure.
So, what do we picture Broken Spire? I mean, if Broken Spire Keep is the the nickname for the place, what do you think the name of the official name of your keep is for House Sergeant? As a reminder, your bent and unbroken are your words.
Yeah, maybe it's the bent keep, actually, but people call it broken.
I was kind of thinking of something like the Black Tower, because of the Black Fires.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Okay.
Still got a B in it, then we still got some alliteration there.
Absolutely. So Black Tower is and I can't help but notice that kind of the region we were talking about also seems kind of near where the road between Highgarden and Old Town is located.
Yeah, the Midway Tower. No.
Yeah. Well, also more so that there could be, you could be, if you had enough people ranging out these roads, maybe a way of contributing to your liege lords of House Hightower. So, House Upland, or Upland, the location just south of you too. I did find something interesting there. It is House Mullendor that is located there. Their sigil is a field of butterflies. And they might be kind of your closest significant neighbor. they were loyal to the crown. They have been loyal to the Targaryens. The event known as that's been referenced later as the Dance of Dragons, where different members or factions within the House Targaryen fought one another, as depicted in the House of the Dragon show. Even during that, they remained loyal to House Targaryen, to the Targaryens. They would have remained loyal to the Targaryens during the during the Blackfire rebellions, which means that they may have mixed feelings about you guys of having ousted the former house, but then having a traitor among your ranks. Perhaps they forgive you because it is House Rain or someone of House Rain, but if you're welcoming yet another Rain into the house, and you still have the same color scheme as House Rain, House Sergeant, I don't know how I feel about you, is I guess what I'm saying. So, where our story opens then will be in Black Tower. Do you guys picture the lands, the arable lands kind of being nearby there? Does Black Tower sit on some kind of prominent geographic location to speak to its defensiveness, or is it something that's been built up around terrain?
With how often it's been
John.
conquered in the past, I'm thinking maybe it's not like the best defensible location, but the tower's been built up enough so that you could see for miles and see people coming.
Okay.
So like the arable land is right nearby.
When it is not broken.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, great. Okay, so it's an easy thing to see. Perhaps it's something you could spy when you're traveling the road for. One of the things that famously, he refuses to put scale on his maps, so it's difficult to tell how big anything is.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
It took this amount of time to get there. Wait a second. Oh, actually, I guess you're right.
Although he does, it is something that is different. He is pretty meticulous about. One of the interesting things you'll see with interviews with him is he talks about how he's a sci-fi writer first. So he always wants to think of things in terms of practicalities and grounding in realism. So traveling from the north to King's Landing is going to take you for fucking ever because there's no mass transit and it's a medieval world, and he tries to capture as much of that medieval reality as he can. So anyway, I kept saying that before we went live. I'm like, I'm not going to go into the digressions about the setting and thing. That's fucking right out the window.
No, it's cool. These are these are things that I wish I knew when I was watching this show.
So what I think is this is probably springtime in late spring in AC 257. And let's get some dice rolls going to get ourselves set up here. I've got this one more thing, guys, I thought I'd show you. These are Wardens of the March. These are the types of knights that would be patrolling the Dornish marches. But it gives you an idea of the riches of the Reach. Vast arable lands and whatnot. You guys are in those mountains, or just on the cusp of them at least. So not quite as wide open.
That's where the rich people live, and we just are
You're their poor neighbors, yeah. Not for nothing, the shitty, neighborhoods are right adjoining the neighbors in Dorne. So, then, let's see here. If I've got a castle in here. Why don't we start with? I want to start with the Meister. What do you think your daily routine is? You know that you've got an older and kind of slipping Meister who also is located in Black Tower.
Right.
But what do you think?
I think first thing in the morning, I basically have to get up and I need to essentially get him up and ready for the day.
Yeah.
like as if he was I don't know, a 6-year-old. Like
Write about what you know.
yeah, exactly. Because he's so old that he just like I venerate him. He's like this amazing maester, but like I got to take care of him. Like I got to get him up for the day. I got to like get his food ready. I got to get his clothes laid out. Like I have to sort of do everything in the morning, and it takes me like 45 minutes to an hour to sort of like do all that stuff and get him up and out to where he needs to be.
Having deja vu.
This is not quite correct,
that's cool.
guys, but I thought it'll be something at least to look at. And it's not snowing either, but... So you're getting up and fussing around, and Meister Carl is, kind of gets up, and he grabs your robe and kind of pulls at you. And he's got this wild look in his eye that he sometimes has in the mornings. And he says, "The spire! Does it stand?"
Yes, Mr. Carl. It still stands.
I think it's still broken. You guys remember the house is broke.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's broken, but it stands.
It's broken, but it stands. You. Who are you?
And I've like been through this routine like many days in a row. It's me. It's Maester Willem. I was sent from the Citadel.
Yes.
I've been studying with you.
Yes, Willem. I know that. You're Willem. I know that. Oh.
Yes, Maester.
Have you brought hot water from the kitchen?
Oh yes, Maester. Over here. And I'll kind of head over to where I've like put it down. Be careful. It is very hot.
Hot. And he goes over and then it kind of realizes that you were not lying. And he looks at you, and you can tell from the perplexed look in his face, he's already forgotten your name again.
Willem, sir.
Willem, the ravens. Have you checked the ravens?
I was just about to, Maester, but I have not heard word that any have arrived yet.
You will not gain more links in your chain by neglecting your duties. And you, once again, has forgotten your name already. Young man.
I don't want to remind him because I'm afraid that I'm pointing out that I'm reminding him. So I'm like playing this game of when to say it and not. Yes, Mister. I apologize. You're right, of course.
Good. See to the ravens. Then check on their... And you can hear... It sounds as if they are sparring this early. See...
Do I hear that?
Yeah, and you guys can hear the clink of...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So...
yes, Mister.
Then he leaves you. The ravens would be at the highest point. There's probably some kind of like kludged together rookery to keep all the ravens in, because it still is a thing you would want to be sending. It's how you would communicate with other places. And curiously, while Black Tower is a relatively minor holding, there still is an incredibly well maintained. It's as if Maester Carl thought at one point that there would be some need to send word to a wide variety of people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
Why don't you give us, do you have any training in animal care?
I have none.
None?
Oh, no, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Why don't you give us an,
right.
This is something that you're probably used to doing, so why don't you give us an easy animal handling, or animal care check, please.
All right, here we go. First roll of the game. All right.
In spite of how hard you tried to fail that, you still did not.
Exactly.
So,
I'm like tripping over myself because I feel like I got in trouble because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And I'm like trying to get there as fast as I can.
Yeah. So you're checking around for these, and you can see that word has come from Old Town. Oh. And it means that there's a message. Someone got you.
Yeah.
there is word from Old Town, and if you scroll it out, this is information. Let me whisper it to you,
Okay.
Maester, and I will. So,
okay.
Is that something that is... There's a number of people who may wish to get this word quite soon. You know from the state that Meister Carl has awoken in today, you're probably going to have to take care of this yourself because he's...
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And from the sounds of things, it's possible that Lord Sergeant is in the yard with his son, who's probably sparring with the two knights.
Okay, so I'm gonna I unfurl it and I roll it back up and I start running. I'm actually I can run. I'm just not very strong. So I'll kind of make my way there as fast as I can.
Okay. So you race down into the yard, and what you find there, Sir Byron and Sir Ridrick.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that you are part of your task is martial instruction with the heir, Timos. Timos is the eldest heir to Lord Sergeant, and I'll grab a picture of Lord Sergeant in a second here. I just want to double check something, make sure I'm not going to misspeak. Okay, got it. Right. This is kind of, let's see here. Yeah, there we go. There is Lord Sergeant. Lord Sergeant kind of sounds like a poorly translated character from a Japanese video game in the 90s, but really should have thought of that before insisting on the homage to Carl Sargent. But what do you guys, do you have a name in mind for Lord Sergeant, or you want to assign it based on a generator?
It's got to be alliterated, though.
Let's see here.
Like Cyric or something.
You want Cyric? Not all names in... Like, the Rain names definitely have a lot of alliteration to them, but not a lot of the other ones. They have a good lyrical quality to them, but not necessarily alliteration, but...
Yeah.
Cyric Sergeant is going to be... I mean, I'll call him Lord Sergeant anyway, but... Yeah. The look on Ingolf's face.
Yeah. It should be more than Cyrus Sergeant or something, but that still sounds weird. Yeah. I don't know.
What do we think here? Oh, you know what? No, he wouldn't have a Valyrian name. He'd have a Andal name. What about... Sullivan? Sullivan Sergeant? That does sound like a solvent more than anything. How about Draymond?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Draymond Sergeant. Okay. Do you think Lord Sergeant is someone who would look over his son's training, or does he have? Does he trust that the knights will see to that?
I mean, I think it'd be fine without him overseeing it. I mean, I'm sure the Lord Sergeant has plenty of other things to occupy his time.
Yeah. So Lord Draymond may be off somewhere, perhaps getting some advice from Leah.
Yeah.
So we see in the yard, guys, Sir Byron and Sir Ridrick. Would you each, guys, kindly give us a attack with your longsword? Go to your combat.
Now you accidentally killed the air. No.
Okay.
Right.
That's 6 success levels from Sir Ridrick.
It's just a challenging, no bonus.
Yeah, it'll always be challenging.
Everything.
To show the young knight proper form.
3. Okay, so with that exchange, Sir Ridrick got the better of that. You guys want to add some flavor to that interaction? It's not a huge... It's only by 3, but it's enough. Either Sir Ridrick would have held off Sir Byron's attack, or...
Byron's the bigger of the two, right?
Yep.
So I'll probably be like exchanging blows with him and showing the aspiring, trainee, Lord's son, that even when they're bigger, if they can hit you and you redirect their attack, their strength means nothing.
Okay. You want to exchange again?
Sure. I make no excuses, but I might be hungover, but he won't say anything. Oh.
Okay, so when there is a tie, what you compare is the relative skills. And then whoever's the better skill. So Sir Ridrick has 74 in his skill. Sir Byron is 60. So this is, what do you guys think is we see? It's a clinching of blades, and then Sir Ridrick just comes out on...
Yeah, I think the blades clash, and he's like, "I'll show you what strength means." And he's starting to bend Sir Ridrick back, and then I just sidestep and let him fall to the side, but I kind of stumble a bit as I do it.
Okay.
Yeah, nice.
The Timos kind of laughs. Sir Byron, you're letting yourself be bested.
It's early.
I thought I heard from the kitchen that it was quite late for you before you bid yesterday farewell.
There was mighty good conversation last night.
Why don't you give us a consume alcohol check? And I think it'll be an average, please. Let's see how you're doing.
It is under
skills. No, it's a separate skill actually. Consume alcohol.
Yeah, it's on the left, a few down.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I see it.
That'll be average, please.
Okay.
Like you drank harder and more. So you're gonna let this little, puffed up Western, someone from the Westlands. You want to do one more exchange?
Yes, let's do one final exchange.
Got to give him a chance to fight dirty.
Okay. Only 3 for Sir Ridrick.
Come on.
Now, if this is important to you, you could spend a fortune point and re-roll that.
Yeah, it's early. It's fun. Let's do it.
Okay.
Where's
Do it.
fortune? Is
Fortune is
green
your
bar?
green bar. You can just use your green bar to adjust it.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
And then just hit re-roll. Or same attack.
He is serious about this. Wait, what? Is there a button to re-roll?
No, there's not a button to
No.
re-roll. You'll have to
Okay. Yeah.
same attack again.
Come on, roll 20.
Yeah.
What do we see?
I think he maybe he's been fighting with one hand on the sword, so he puts a second hand on the hilt, and I think it's just a mighty blow that Ridrick just sort of can't handle the force of after sort of all of his comments about strength.
For sure. I can see that, and then getting knocked back and rolling a bit and getting to my feet laughing.
Yeah.
And wheezing a little bit. Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does Sir Byron take his, because like
This
that
is why
is
you don't want to be it.
like the embodiment of chivalric attitude, right? Of like, well struck, sir. Is Sir Byron used to that, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that he's maybe he likes that sort of lightheartedness. This is maybe actually that's one of the reasons I've stayed so far. Is maybe he kind of is like Sir Ridrick. You know, instead of there being tension, maybe there's a bit of camaraderie there. So part of the reason he stayed.
I think it's at that point you see your young maester come running into the kind of the yard of the keep. What does Willem have on his face? What's the expression? Oh, you might be muted.
Yeah, because
Tomo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I think it's one of concern because this missive probably came in earlier on a Raven, and I'm late getting it here. So I kind of wait, like I'm standing there, like like I watch them fighting, and clanging swords, and kind of standing back, and I'm like, Sir, like I keep trying to like get a word in, but they're like so into it. Yeah. And I'm very impressed that I am too. And then ultimately they kind of like had this last exchange, and they seem like that's like a momentary break. And you go, Sir, would I call him Sir Ridrick, or what would I?
You call him Sir Ridrick? Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sir Ridrick, and I hold up the rolled up parchment from the Raven.
Get to my knees and sheath the sword.
Okay.
And tip my head Byron. And so, one moment. Waltz over there and pluck it from his hands.
Timos picks up a practice sword and maybe stands forward with you, Sir Byron. So if you go over, Willem will have to translate it for you because it's obviously tiny little fucking script and whatnot. But see, I don't know in the books, but in the show, Catelyn could read what's in the thing. So maybe you can read it. I actually don't know if it need to be a...
It could be that Catelyn was just trained in the script because, you probably like encrypted or something to make sure not everybody can read it.
She's also, not for nothing, her father is currently a young man in House Tully. So if you want to know where you guys are, Catelyn... Her father is one of the young knights in service, or who is an heir to House Tully at this point. What I think
Kevin, before he reads it, I start saying it's about the Rogue Rain, and I'm like unsure if I should have said that, and I'm like,
kind of like glance backwards to make sure nobody else heard that, and
okay. So what he can tell you, I think you've got read write as a talent, right?
I do, yes.
Yeah. So we'll say you're able to read this as well. What you found is, it is apparently, it's just a little summary of it, but it says that the Rogue Rain, whoever his, this person's real name is, has been seen among mercenaries in the disputed lands in Essos. Now,
kind of you see sort of his jaw clenches as he reads that.
The disputed lands are, I mentioned in Essos, like right across the Narrow Sea, there are a bunch of little city-states in there. There is a region that is kind of disputed by everyone. There are towns and cities and whatnot within there, but they don't have the influence that other places do. It seems as if they're there. Now, Willem, would you give us a average history check? I'm making it average for you because of your access to the Ravens and your time in the Citadel. And it would be lore history, sorry. And Sir Ridrick, do you have lore history?
I do not.
What lores do you have?
We've got Faith the Seven, Heraldry, Local Warfare, and Westeros.
Make it a difficult lore warfare check, please.
And Kevin, what did you say for difficulty for me was?
Average.
Average, okay, got it. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
What did you
just happen there?
What'd you click on?
Clicked on history under lore. I put average, then I hit submit. 0 for target bonus, 0 for SL bonus.
Oh.
That's weird.
There you go, though.
Okay.
All right. So, what you've heard, this is something that Willem knows, and you can feel free to share in. What you've heard is that, because one of the things, in light of all the troubles that the Blackfires have caused here recently, it may not surprise you to learn that they like keeping a tab on what the hell's going on in Essos, because they seem to always be causing troubles. And the Golden Company has not been defeated; they are still out there, which means while Bittersteel is dead, the legacy of his people who have sworn to serve Blackfire, they're still fucking out there too. What you've heard is that there are rumors of not mercenaries, but a group that calls itself the Band of Nine.
Mm-hmm.
The Band of Nine has been apparently conquering in the disputed lands. Not just fighting, proxy wars between city-states up there, but actually taking control. And that is something that mercenary companies typically do not do. There are, I think, maybe 2 or 3 names that are important to you among the Band of Nine. One is the rogue Rain. And we should give this person a name as well. Let's see here. Since we're committed to the alliteration for the Rains, let's see here. Just hitting refreshing. Reuben.
Roderick Rain. Reuben Rain. Yeah.
Reuben Rain?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sir Reuben. So I'll give you one more option here. Come on. Lots of D's. Rylan? Or we'll do one more. Or Ras. What do you guys think? Oh, sure.
I like Reuben.
Reuben? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sir Reuben the Rogue Rain.
Yeah, I think his name is not always. He's always called the Rogue Rain, and
Yeah.
we don't know his name.
So the Rogue it has been seen among their numbers, and by among their numbers they mean one of the leaders. He's apparently one of the influential, if not one of the 9. He is part of the Band of 9. So that is one person of interest. A second person of interest is a notorious rogue named Sir Derek Fossaway. He's known as the Bad Apple. The reason he is called that is because the sigil of House Fossaway is an apple. And there are 2, they had a split within their family within the last 30 years. So there are Fossaways of one house that have green apples, and there are Fossaways of another that have red apples as their sigil. Both claim now that the other one is where Sir Derek comes from, so it's unclear which house he came from. But the Bad Apple, Sir Derek Fossaway, is said to be one of those as well. That is consequential for you because they, the Fossaways, and those who allied themselves with Sir Derek are in the Reach as well. So this is a second rogue knight who's part of or associated with the Band of 9, who is connected to the Reach. And the final name that is of concern to you is someone named Maylees Blackfire. And Maylees is said to be a descendant of the male Blackfire line. He is also called Melees the Monstrous. Some say that is because he is hideously deformed. Others say it's because he is the size of 1.5 men, and that he seized control of the Golden Company by crushing the skull of his only rival, Blackfire. So the three that are part of the Band of Nine is the Rogue Rain, Sir Derek Fossaway, the Bad Apple, and Melees the Monstrous Blackfire. That is the word that your kinsman has apparently allied himself with, Sir Redrick. How does that news hit you?
Frustrating. I was hoping we could track him down and, bring justice to him, but if he's allied with other scoundrels and men of ill repute, it's going to make it even more difficult to bring him to justice.
And across the narrow sea and thrown in with a Blackfire. What's the look on Sir Redrick's face?
He's got a clenched jaw, his brow is furrowed, and he's just squinting down at the message.
So Sir Byron,
he's trying to weasel more information out of it.
I think you can tell out of the corner. I can't remember. Does Sir Byron have read-write as a talent? Is he lettered?
That'd be on skills?
Talents.
Yeah.
Oh, talents.
No,
I don't see read right.
So if you can see over, Sir Redrick seems uncharacteristically dour at whatever the news is that he has just read. And you could tell that it's word from a raven. Oh. So.
Well, Redrick, are you going to share with us?
It's gonna kind of shake his head and turn around to look at Byron, and I don't think it's news for the young one to worry about, but maybe later.
Okay.
Of course.
So, Sir Redrick, do you want to share with Meister Willem what, just to be sure that George didn't, if he did miss?
Yeah, I missed a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the rogue Rain has allied itself with two other notorious figures, one of which is a descendant of the Blackfires, monstrous figure that reportedly crushed the skull of his rival. And then the other one, that one's, the Bad Apple. That information slipping my mind. Yeah, the Sir Derek Fossaway, the Bad Apple. So he's made himself very difficult to reach.
It's across the narrow sea in the disputed lands, and they are apparently conquering in there.
Yeah.
So I think that is when Lord Draymond, or Lord Sergeant, and Aaliyah come down. You can see that the two of them have been talking, and he comes and Sir Byron, why don't you give us another attack? Let's see how is your instructing going with Timos?
Yes.
Imagine this is where Roll20 is going to flatten the kid.
No, it just did that again in my last roll with you. So there you go.
So he's able to get he's fencing, and then he's able to get a strike between, and you can hear, "Ha! Well struck, Timos."
I think he's quite distracted right now with what just came, this letter that's come in, and it's like, yeah. So Lord Draymond and Aaliyah
have walked down and joined everyone to Aaliyah. I think that you're quite a perceptive young woman, so you can see that there's an uncharacteristically dour look on Sir Ridrick's face, and he has a message from a raven in his hand. So it's not hard for you to piece together what has fouled his mood.
Yeah. I'll walk over to our Lord Regent and pass him the missive.
Word.
Yes.
Of what?
The rogue Rain and 2 of his new allies across the Narrow conquering.
I am going to guess that the rogue served Draymond himself, right?
That makes sense.
So there's got to be a look of pain on his face when he hears this. And he just doesn't look at it, doesn't take it from it. When he hears that, you can see the expression changes. And he says, and what news of Sir Reuben?
He's joined forces with Sir Derek Fastaway and Baelish Blackfire. And they seem to be advancing and conquering.
Aaliyah, do you have what are your lores?
The reach, only the reach.
Give us a check, average check of lore the reach, please.
Nope.
Impressive
Nope.
failure. You want to fortune that?
Yeah. I think I will.
Nice.
That's better.
Okay. So what when you hear about the Fossaway, like that is, you've had your suspicion that one of the Fossaway branches threw in secretly with the Blackfires. There's a number of smaller, like Bannerlord or Bannerman houses that either just provided funding or sanctuary or whatever kind of support without like marching people out to serve with the Blackfires. And you've had your suspicions that the Bad Apple, while he is definitely a bad fucking dude, you have the feeling that the connection with the Blackfires is not a surprise. Because each of the branches of the Fossaways are happy to shit talk the other ones to the lords because they both happen to serve House Tully. But it seems like one of them may actually be telling the truth about the shit talking as far as the connection to the Bad Apple is concerned.
And that is something maybe that I follow this rumors all about for quite some time, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things, you guys remember the map, the Reach is sort of on the far side of the kingdom, but one of the things that the Blackfires have often been able to rely on is while they are crossing the narrow sea to land on the western coast of Westeros, allies can cause problems behind the lines in the Reach, in the Westerlands, in the Neck, in the Riverlands. So that causes, the Targaryens then have to deal with problems on both sides or rely on allies who will remain loyal to them. And there's been some real problems with that in the Reach. So if they are stirring once again, and there's a new Blackfire who's putting his name to... A Blackfire and the Golden Company goes together like... I don't know. I mean, the whole purpose of the Golden Company is to place a Blackfire on the throne. And to be honest, King Aegon V, who is your current king, has not been the most attentive to dealing with this stuff. It seems that he is preoccupied with other matters. It's even said that this long-serving king, weakness in Targaryen blood may finally be taking him.
Yeah. So we would think that this might be a start of a new rebellion, or could be a next uprising in a way.
Yeah. You don't have any intel yet beyond the name Melees the Monstrous, nor do you have any spies present in Essos to give further information, but if the way that they're referring to themselves as the Band of Nine, that does seem different from the other Blackfire rebellions. The other Blackfire rebellions had clear leaders. Daemon the First, Daemon the Second, Daemon the Third, and then someone named Hagon the First. He was actually in between the last two Daemons, but Melees is not under his name. It is the Band of Nine. So something different might be happening here.
Yeah. So it might be, I mean, reasonable to think that they have 6 more allies. Would be nice to know who they are, and understanding the history of our house, it might also be that this might mean that our for instance, House Hightower might look more closely what we are doing now, because we were historically always allied with the Blackfires.
So perhaps this is Lord Draymond speaking. If you're sharing these thoughts out loud, this would be an opportunity to demonstrate our loyalty and that of House Rain, he says, looking at Sir Ridrick.
Loyalty and to be the hand of justice that was escaped once before.
Indeed. But we have Aaliyah has shared an idea and an opportunity to perhaps for us to demonstrate this, the value and our loyalty. It seems that with his son Gerald having joined the King's, or been named to the Kingsguard, Lord Oldtower has but one surviving heir in his direct line, and it appears that he has favored House Kui with that. And anyone can give us if you have training in heraldry, you can give us an average check on that, lore heraldry. If you have the reach, you can give us a challenging check with the reach. Actually, hold on. Make that average with the reach, lore, and make it easy with the others. So you'll get plus 20 on top of whatever you're rolling.
So 3 successes then.
Yeah.
So the reach, that was what
reach is plus 20.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Try...
Well, Leah came up with the idea, so I assume you did know this. Sir Byron. All right. So what you guys know is
I bet he owes Sir Byron money. That's why he knows.
So House Kui, it's C-U-Y, and actually I'm not sure how to pronounce that. House Kui is the master of Sunhome. So if you see far to the south there, guys.
Sunhouse, okay.
It's also known as the Sunflower Hall because there are fields of sunflowers that are laid out. House Kui is, for those of you who succeeded, what you would know is Their sigil is a blue field with 6 sunflowers on it. And they're a very old house that has links back to House Gardner, the predecessor to the Tullys. So they've been here for a very, very long time down on the coast, but not a enormously significant or influential house. Their son is marrying Lord Hightower's daughter. Now, that will not necessarily place him in when there are contesters to Old Town, the keep in Old Town. What it will do is puts them to be quite favored. What it also means is that coming in a couple of months, there will be the Sunflower Tourney, or the Tourney of the Sunflower Meadow. It seems that old Lord Lawson Old Tower is going to be spending a bit of coin on a very fancy tournament to celebrate the nuptials. As a result of that, anybody who is either seeking to make a little money, Sir Brian, your ears may be burning here, or anyone who wishes to gain influence. This is going to be quite the thing. It's also on the coast. If someone was to try and do something or intrigue as against House Hightower, that would be a pretty good location to do so. Regardless of whatever might come from this, House Sergeant will have a contingent attending and competing in the tourney. And while there, you will do what those who are not listing or engaging in the melee will do, which is to say, Maester and Aaliyah engage in some intrigue.
With Maester Carl? Oh no, with me.
Maester Willem, he kind of smiles at you, and I think there are pressing duties in Black Tower that would prevent Maester Carl from traveling.
Yes, sir. Yes, my lord.
Then, and Timos kind of turns, it's like, will I be going then, father? And he looks to Sir Ridrick and Aaliyah.
He should, I think.
So, there's many things he can learn along the way. It would be a good opportunity.
And
we'll see to his safety.
Indeed. I think, Sir Byron, what actually both of you guys would know, like, one of the things from the way this terrain is set up and the way we've been describing this place, there's probably, unless you guys are going down into, like, out of the thing and then going down into the field leading towards the road, you're probably not able to do a proper in-a-field list, right? You're not going to get a full... So, Timos may not have the full appreciation of what happens when you take a lance at charging speed, which both of you would have good familiarity with.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting hit by a lance is almost as bad as getting hit by Byron.
Yes.
So, I mean, we are clear that he is not yet ready to compete. It is more like we want him to know and be seen.
He kind of gives a look, and Sir Byron and Sir Ridrick, you'll note that both of you guys have training in cavalry weapons. If he doesn't have training in cavalry weapons, then he will be using just his base weapon score.
Ooh, yeah.
A weapon skill. And I think he's not terrible but Timos, you guys can role play out. He has, he's got a 46. But, like, compare 46 to your relative skill with cavalry weapons.
Yeah. He could use the training. And witnessing others will give him an idea of what's waiting for him.
Timos kind of gives a look, I don't know. We haven't established what Timos' personality like. Is he, like, does he take your advice for when he'll be ready, when he's not? Or is that kind of, not obnoxious, but just like over-eager youth of like, no, I can do it. Overestimating what his abilities are. What do you guys think?
I think he's got a good sense of overestimation on his abilities, but I think Byron's rung his bell a few times. It might have softened him a little bit towards that. I would have looked the other way when it happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So perhaps he talks and Byron, perhaps even you could just say, there will be some bigger than me.
Yes.
And he looks. Perhaps there is much to learn in observing.
And I'll kind of lean down, put a hand on his shoulder, and say, I pity their horses.
Then we'll see that you are equipped for the journey, or suitably outfitted for the journey. But we should prepare to leave within the week. Or rather, you should.
Exciting.
Byron, with the amount of money, like, I think that you probably have, prior to life here, you've traveled to different tourneys. The Reach has a fair bit of money, so it's almost the only place that would be more lucrative would be the Westerlands for tourneys in terms of money going around. But this is sponsored by fucking Lord Hightower, one of the richest men in all of Westeros, is sponsoring this thing.
Yeah. I know, I think he's seeing dollar signs.
Frederick is probably holding a little of excitement for it, but he's more of the mindset that, things will come to him as they are due. He does not need to chase them too quickly. So. And I do probably jest with Byron about him missing the drink on the way there. You better pack a few to spares.
So what I think Lord Draymond will pull Aaliyah aside and ask, everyone, Sir Ridrick and Byron go back to sparring with Timos, and perhaps he pulls you aside as well, Maester, and he says, this news of Sir Reuben, is there more we could learn of this? And I think between the two of you guys, like, things you could access for trying to get further information would be things like, if you've got contacts elsewhere that you could try and draw on. The game, Warhammer Fantasy, has some fantastic, like, downtime tasks, and some of those things include, like, trying to gather information or trying to, So if you've got ideas for... It's not reflected on your character sheet, but you would have, like, contacts, and you would have other types of resources that would make sense for your character. So perhaps the Meisters, especially at the Citadel, if you have any friends or allies still left there, there's rare that there's word that spreads across Westeros that is not also heard in Old Tower, or in the Citadel more particularly. And Aaliyah, you've got contacts seemingly all across the Reach, I imagine, and perhaps beyond.
Yeah, I would imagine that there would be some ties to some of the free cities for trade and whatever. So I guess there could be someone who would know, or would at least heard something. It is only a question of time, my lord, until we get further information.
Good. Learn what you can. and what his role is with this band of 9. If we can learn and share more of what they intend. Blackfires are, if nothing else, predictable in their goals. But knowing when, that may place us in a favorable light with Lord Hightower.
We must be careful who the other 6 are.
That is curious. Have you any word yet?
I guess I haven't. Otherwise, I would have told.
No,
already.
you. I think let's give a. Why don't you give us a? Do you have any other skills you think might apply other than, because your lore is limited to the reach, but do you have something else you think might? How about gossip?
Yeah, gossip could be something. If I have gossip, wait a minute. Where should gossip be? Gossip there. Yeah.
I'm on the
Gossip.
left.
Gossip is. I'm actually quite good at gossip. So.
Why don't you give us a challenging gossip, please? Because this will be getting from word across the narrow sea.
Yeah,
good.
Something. Yeah.
So, there are 2 other names that you've heard that are among them. And I'm just going to make sure I go to the thing here. And if you spend a fortune point, you could get another one. You could have 3 of the names.
Yeah, come on, let's do this.
Okay, so 3 more names. Here are some of the names you've heard. For one, there is a rogue sellsword named Spotted Tom, also known as Spotted Tom the Butcher.
Okay.
Originally from Westeros and now a sellsword in Essos. He has allied with them. There is another former sellsword named Lyamond Lashar. I'll put that up. You know what? I know we all went to high school with the Lyamond Lashar, but let's just say
Yeah.
Spotted Tom the Butcher. And Lyamond Lashar or Lashara. He from his name, he would be from Essos. Likewise, another mercenary, and a notorious captain, a pirate and smuggler, who only is known by the name 9 Eyes. 9 Eyes is the captain of the Jolly Fellows, a fanatically loyal crew of pirates and smugglers. So 2 other sellswords and a fanatical pirate and smuggler.
Yeah. So there are rumors, my lord, about other people, and I would say these names. So I'm much concerned about the last one, meaning that they would have ways to go by sea, maybe even here, or smuggle themselves into the Reach again.
The Red Wine Fleet. They watch for pirates, but so the Red Wine is House Red Wine, and they are one of the most powerful navies. Indeed, they make up the bulk of the Royal Navy, and often kind of the one renegades, renegade Ironborn or Ironborn are from the Iron Isles are ones that they would deal with as well. But that is concerning. If only one ship
Yeah. I mean, there would be no challenge for a fleet, but one ship can always find its way to get somewhere. And they still might have allies here, considering that there's how were the guys called, fossilways involved.
The Bad Apple and Sir Reuben both would have work connections here. And this Maylee's the Monstrous. He has the Golden Company with him.
It seems like that.
That is 3 armies of sellswords plundering their way towards Tyrosh. I was ignorant of Sir Reuben's connections and the depth of his treason. But he was forced to leave so quickly. Perhaps he has left something behind.
Mm-hmm.
See what you can learn of his confederates here. I know we have tried, but if we redouble our efforts, perhaps they will be growing more bold with word of his successes and new allies across the Narrow Sea. Perhaps their boldness will lead them to recklessness, and we can uncover them.
Mm-hmm. I guess Sir Ridrick is not near enough, so he could hear me talk to.
No, it's just
Lorne.
you and Meister Willem or Maester Willem.
Yeah. So as long as the rogue Rhine is the only one we need to be worried about, everything is under control, I suppose.
He looks over and looks at Sir Ridrick, who has gone back to sparring with Tymos and Sir Byron, I imagine.
Yeah.
And he says, no. I think Sir Derek, not the only bad apple. Lord Rain, I think, feels Reuben's betrayal as deeply as I, and has sent his best to redress the wrong done by his house.
It certainly seems this way, yes.
Though, and he kind of, there's a look of pain on his face, as it kind of hits him, and he turns back to you. My sentimentality led to allowed Reuben to betray us last, so if you learn otherwise, let me know.
I will.
And you, Meister, have you any insight for us?
I definitely can send a raven to the Citadel and see if there's any news on any of these things. I'm still pursuing my studies under Maester Carl, as you know, my lord.
I wish not to be intrusive of the secrets of the Citadel, but I expect that there will be others of your kind at the Sunflower Meadows. Perhaps there is something to be learned from them.
That is an excellent idea, my lord. Excellent idea. Yes, that is true. They would be there.
Perhaps there is something we can all learn from this tournament, then.
Yes.
Then, anything further you guys wish to discuss with Lord Draymond?
I'm too scared.
Yeah, how's Willem handling all this?
He really has to go to the bathroom, but he's been holding it in, and he's he's basically being given the chance to prove himself, which he's happy about, but also the weight of that is hitting him at the same time.
Yeah.
And he won't have the ability to connect in any immediate way with Maester Carl while at this tournament. So he's on his own for the first time, really. So he knows that ultimately he has this burden, but he's excited about it too. So and yet he also realizes that he's got to like talk to servants and make sure they're going to handle all of Maester Carl's morning routine and bedtime routine and nap time routine and all of those things. Yeah. Because he knows he's going to get blamed if those things don't happen. So his mind's like racing a million miles, but he's got a very keen intellect, and he's good with these sorts of things. So it's not like stressful. He just is trying to do it all in his head all at the same time while talking to the Lord, while interacting with everybody.
Okay, that's okay. Anything else you guys wish to do in the scene before you leave?
No, I can't think of anything. I mean, it would be too much guessing, and yes.
Okay.
I wonder if I look up to a window, Kevin. Tell me if this would make sense. I happen to look up to a window, and I see Maester Carl looking down.
Yep.
And as soon as he sees me look up, he walks out of my view.
Yep. Yeah. He's got. I expect that there's. So, and I'll leave it to you to decide this. One of the most fun scenes I'm not sure if it's in the book as well too. One of the most fun scenes you see in the show about Pycelle is how much of a fucking ruse his old doddering man thing is, because you see him get up and he stretches and he's fine and whatnot and moves around, and then he gets himself over and like checks himself in the mirror and is like, a little more over, and then kind of dodders his way out. It's so good.
Such a good scene.
Yeah. But so I'm not sure how much of that is true, and he very well could also like genuinely have some, what's the word I'm looking for, dementia, or like bits of diminishment, but then also have moments of lucidity where he is as brilliant and whatnot as he was before. What were you gonna say, John? Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, it's fine. I was just saying Byron might notice that Sir Riddick is a little bit more focused on sparring, and he seems to be both focused and more wild in his strikes. Like something's taking his focus, and he's trying to compensate with just heavy swings.
Okay. So maybe it sounds like it's not that it would be unsafe, but like harder than would be necessary for practice swings with Tymos if he was engaged with him. Yeah.
I'm thinking that mostly he's when he's showing Tymos something with Sir Byron, he's a little bit more harsher than he needs to be when he's making the strikes, just because he knows Byron can handle it, maybe subconsciously.
How do you take that, Byron?
Take like a boot to the chest and chill out, Roderick.
I think he takes it as like, this is good because I need to get into shape, into real fighting shape, if I'm going to make some money here at this. So, it's fine. Bring it on. Maybe he hits him back for real, sort of,
Okay. Man, it's already fucking 10 o'clock. Holy smokes. Would you guys like to take a 5-minute break for this,
Yeah.
and then we'll come back. Yeah, okay, so let's take our mid-session break. An hour before we quit.
I guess some of those critters that are complaining about the cold, so I got to go shut the windows.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so for those listening at home, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. All right. Hey, everybody at home. Hope you are having a terrific start to your weekend. Okay. Daemon is cool, tall, and mysterious. Yeah, agreed. That's a different different Daemon, actually. There's a bunch of fucking Daemons in the... unless you mean... yeah, depending which one you're talking about. I actually don't know. But...
Man, I'm enjoying this so far.
That's awesome. It is such a cool setting, and I think like the pairing, the house creation is very cool. And Warhammer Fantasy, I think is such a 4th edition is such a good game for a grounded, low fantasy kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Even little things like the difference between the knights. So those are different careers out of the Up in Arms book. Because like a freelance, I use for a hedge knight, I use the freelance one because they're more of like a rough and tumble, make it themselves. Whereas Sir Ridrick is from an actual like more like noble and recognized thing. So your skills, you have some similarities, but you've got some significant differences. Like I don't think Sir Ridrick has any survival, for instance, whereas Sir Byron fucking does because he's had to sleep in the woods before,
Yeah,
right.
Notice I'm not skilled at brawling at all, so Sir Byron would probably whip my butt.
Well, Sir Byron's also got a neat talent called it's like stone soup or something like that, where basically like he only requires half the amount of food from anybody else because he's used to living lean.
But he's so big.
Yeah, he's a big boy too.
Yeah.
For each of the characters, I use this. I rolled up one set of stats and just used the same set of stats for each NPC.
Nice.
Yeah, and these are they're either equal to or a little bit more experienced than what your characters are in our Warhammer Fantasy game.
Yeah, I was taking a look at the advances there with the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about 3,500 or so. I'm like, yeah, that's about on par.
Yeah, I felt like it would be good to have. You guys don't need to master every one of your talents or whatnot for it, but just having capable skills and having a good option or good selection of talents is a fun way to enjoy the game. So, in the time between now and we need to part, is there anything you guys want to achieve, or you want to do, or think you'd want to follow up with? I'm not saying there necessarily is, but if there is anything, we can try and interpret that by way of endeavor.
I think Sir Ridrick would try to convince Maester William to send a bird to his father, kind of like let him know where we're going to be.
You don't have to convince me. You can just tell me.
Well, the convincing is going to make you keep it quiet from like.
Probably the same.
Oh, that is interesting.
As far as you know.
That is interesting. Do I have someone bribed to tell me when somebody sends a raven without going through the proper channels?
Yeah, we'll do this here. I think. So, why don't you? I think it'd be a gossip roll for you, Aaliyah, and I'm trying to see what it would be.
I mean, there's also bribery, but I don't know. Just because there is no contact skill, and that is something like that.
Yeah. Is it you're trying to bribe Meister Willem to let you know, or someone else?
Yeah. I was thinking that maybe. I mean, there must be someone besides Meister Willem who cares for the ravens or so. Maybe some boy who's just feeding the birds or something like that.
I think because of the peculiarities, like feeding the birds is one of the ways they're homing kind of things too. So like feeding them is a very specific kind of thing. So what? But there might be people, because of where we've established that the rookery is at the top of the broken spire. Maybe there's a way. Sir Ridrick, you're trying to hide this from your hosts?
Yeah, I just want to kind of like send a secret letter to my father about what we found.
A secret letter or a secret notice by Raven?
Well, notice by Raven. I'm going to try to write it in kind of like Old Valyrian. Get it to him.
Yeah, High Valyrian. I've got it listed as Old Valyrian. High Valyrian is technically the word. Yeah, that okay. So let me think here.
It might include what I intend to do when I eventually catch Reuben. Maybe try to get his approval before we leave.
So if you don't have training in stealth, just give us an agility check, Sir Ridrick, and Aaliyah, give us a bribery check, and then we'll hear what Meister... Well, we have two ways of doing this, George.
Okay.
You could tell all of us what Maester Willem does, or you can whisper me what he does. Your choice.
Okay.
I think everyone here is good enough a role player to act accordingly. Stone soup.
What is the difficulty?
It's because that's a good question. Because it's a contested role, it's a challenging role for each of you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, it's gonna be horrible. I'm gonna spend a fortune and try to re-roll that one.
You got it. Okay.
I haven't spent any yet. Might as well.
Oh yeah. Can't take him with you. That's less of a failure, I guess. Okay, so here's the other option that you could do is you could blow a resilience and pick your number. So one of the neat things with resilience, which is one of the frustratingly, one of the more important ones is the short word fate, and fortune is what you get back and spend much closely. The other one is the reverse. Resilience is the one that is more important and recovers more slowly, and resolve you get back quicker. But you can burn a point of resilience to pick a number for your dice roll.
not gonna do that.
So that could be a 1 you could roll, or critical hit, or whatever. But no, so that's fine. So what that means is, Aaliyah, whoever you've paid off, maybe it's like, someone who controls the kennels or, working in the stables, kind of would bring word to you. And Meister Willem, you want to let us know?
Yeah.
You want to whisper me, or do you send?
I think I'll. Yeah, I'm gonna whisper you, I think.
So you can tell me what you wish to do with it. And I guess another option is if you intend on palming it and not I'm not sure if Sir Ridrick's going to wait and watch you send a raven. If you want to conceal it from him, you would make a sleight of hand roll contested by his perception. Let me see if a sleight of hand is a basic skill or trained only. It is trained only, which means you're probably going to make... Yeah. So, I'll let you whisper me, and then tell me what you're planning on doing with it. And then if we need to make any other rolls, I could also make a secret roll myself. I have been known to do that.
Okay, see if this makes sense.
Interesting. So go ahead and role play that out after the note and the raven is sent.
Okay. What role am I making? Some kind of convincing.
So if you're saying that, oh yeah, good point. Let me take a look at your character sheet, and then yeah. Interesting. Okay. Maester Willem, do you read? I think you read High Valyrian, right?
I do.
Yeah. Okay. So you could. Do you sneak a peek?
Yes.
Oh, Riddick makes no motions to hide it from William, whatever the note is.
Okay. Do you want to share that with Maester Willem then?
Yep.
I think you guys can whisper one another.
I can.
Yeah, we should be able to.
Make incredible. Sure we've never had this much whispering in a game. It's incredible.
Yeah. It makes for good TV. I mean, whatever. So nice to watch. Yeah.
Okay. And then let's see here.
Okay.
You know what? Take a look at your Tower of Memory ability.
Yes.
Or is that what you were thinking?
Well, in looking what I had, I thought that maybe one may be the most relevant.
Yeah, take a look at, because then, you, with that, I think you can absolutely remember it.
Okay. That's
very cool. I didn't think that ability would come into play.
Yeah, totally. I love that. That's great.
Okay.
I'm gonna do what I said in my note, and I'll tell you one more thing.
Okay. Then why don't you give us a charm check, and give us an intuition check, Sir Ridrick, please. Challenging for both.
Sorry, and what am I doing, Kev?
Charm check.
Charm. Okay.
Yeah, both at challenging because it's contested.
Intuition for me.
Intuition for Sir Ridrick, please. Yeah.
I think I'll re-roll.
Contested.
And,
yeah.
I know, but still. To
be one fortune.
Oh, that's the opposite of what it did before.
So if you get a degree of success of 6, that's often the equivalent of a critical, and you got 7 for. So, what does Meister Willem, or how does the scene play out? How would you like that?
So I think I'll take the note from Sir Ridrick. I will send it right away, and I will then race off to the rookery. Once there and out of sight, I will take out another piece of parchment and copy down what was written there, and keep that on me. And then I'll say, I have to send this ring. Where did I put that string, that song? And I was like, I have to send this to the Citadel immediately. And I kind of like, out of the corner of my eye, I'm just looking around to see if anybody's overhearing me and making sure that they overhear that.
Making sure that Sir Ridrick does? Or that anyone...
No, that's that like, like one of these people that, might just be like in the woodwork, like that I wouldn't really pay attention
I see.
to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And saying like, Sir Richard, what was me to get this to the Citadel, and I'm going to do it wrong. Oh no, I need to. And then I kind of like fumble my way. I'm like, oh, there we go. Get to the Citadel, Raven.
So you know what would be another? You could, if you want, in addition to saying that, you could, like, one of the Citadel Ravens, swap it in place with wherever you're intending on sending this as the kind of junction point.
Yeah.
So there's going to be like the wrong Raven in the wrong place, but since you're the only one who
knows
handles the Raven, you'll know which one is the wrong one. So if anyone came in to look and see if a Raven was sent to wherever.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. That's very cool.
Okay. All right.
And then I'll sort of come out of there and rush to my next duty.
Okay. So if... I think, Aaliyah, we maybe cut to after that scene. Who do you think your informer is? Who is your little bird?
Yeah, that's interesting. So maybe there is some, I don't know, someone is supposed to do some kind of cleaning in there. I mean, I'm the maesters wouldn't clean this rookery. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so perhaps someone's back with you, and they say that there is, that they tell you that Sir Ridrick met in secret with Meister Willem, and one of the birds, birds from the Citadel, has been sent, or to the Citadel.
Okay.
I do not think Lord Draymond was aware.
Interesting. Thank you. And I mean, I would give like the usual coinage.
Yeah. Okay.
Keep me informed.
Well. So, Black Tide disappears back into the shadows. Anything else you guys wish to do in that week between?
No, I got my shady dealings done. It's Byron's turn.
That's awesome because, like, I don't know that Aaliyah overheard. Like, I don't know who told what to who, and it's great.
I mean, the setting is, no matter how chivalrous someone is or how honorable, there's always that one spot where they're weak at. So. Yeah.
No, it's I one of the YouTubers I was listening to, because I had this idea in my head, and I was listening to a bunch of like lore videos about Game of Thrones. They kept bringing up the fact that one of the writers that Martin apparently keeps referencing is William Faulkner. And Faulkner said, like the most interesting thing, and perhaps the only thing worth writing about, is the human heart in struggle with itself. And that's what I think is so great about the character stuff, right? Is that it's the George, in your screenwriting parlance, it would be like the struggle between needs and wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, for our viewers at home that didn't get to see the exchange in whispers, I'll give you a hint. Ridrick took Ruben's treachery very personally. So,
whoa, chivalric vows out the window.
Not entirely.
Yeah. So then, what if anything else do you guys wish to do with your time? Sir Byron, is there anything that you'd want to do?
It's an interesting question. I mean, I think that there's... Sir Byron is always torn, so, and I think his greed side is sort of currently reignited at this point, and so
what's he thinking? Like to get in tip-top shape for the?
I think it's a combo of get himself back into tip-top shape, and also maybe try to scrounge up some coin or something from around the castle that he can bring along to make wagers, because the other way to win, if you can't win yourself, if you can pick the winner, you can still make coin.
Hell yeah. So,
There's like some, scurrying around, calling in favors or asking for favors. Both, whichever ones he can pull off. Or
so here's what you could do: is if you want to, depending on how he goes about doing this, you do, I believe, have some training in gambling.
Yes, I believe he does.
So you could use that skill to try and earn some cash. You could also, if what you're trying to do, well, yes, the cash is what you've said you want to try and.
Are higher numbers better?
Higher numbers are better, yeah, because you always want to roll that or less.
Right. So I mean, I'm also good at just gossiping and intimidating people sort of around here to sort of, learn about who's got some secrets they don't want out that maybe I can sort of, extort them a little for some cash.
You're gonna bully some folks for money? Then
yeah, a little bit.
I love it. Yeah.
It's not like he's not talking about like life ruining money here, but it's like very much like the lunchroom bully. Like, give me your lunch money. Give me the coin that you're carrying right now.
Okay,
I need it. I need it more than
hilarious.
You do.
For a briefest of seconds, I was thinking, like, is there going to be a difference telling between the two different kinds of knights in the thing? And like, absolutely not. There's.
I'm definitely not betting on myself if that's what you're going to ask.
Okay. All right, so I think you're going to give us a. Let's see here. It is. Here we go. Give us an average. If Intimidate is the one you're using, an average Intimidate check. I hope you roll a critical fail. It'll be really fucking funny.
I mean, it's me. So...
yeah.
Right, exactly. True.
Impressive success. Look at that.
Oh, man.
Jeff has this habit, whenever we're expecting a crit failure, he rolls pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So... Let's see here. What is your status again? It's silver what?
Oh, it's terrible. Silver 2.
Silver 2. No, that's not bad. So give us a 2d10 roll, please. I actually don't know what the currency is in Game of Thrones, but we'll use the brass, gold, and silver coinage for this. 11 silver shillings you shake down out of people. So
nice.
All right. Now, what about you sent the message? Is there any other kind of like general task that you guys would want to do? And I'll give you some examples here. Excuse me.
Yeah. Could we? I mean, couldn't we at least prepare something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Send someone out to arrange some accommodation and so on. I guess it won't be so easy to find something proper or so.
The closer you get to what is it called? Whatchamacallit?
Sunhouse.
Sunhouse is going to be busier because the more people will be traveling there, so it'll be the more people taking up inns and things like that.
Yeah. I was more thinking like during the tournament, there would be a lot of people coming in, and you want to make sure that we are in a safe and good location.
Oh, you're going to you'll have service come along, and you guys will pitch tents. Like everyone will stay in tents for the tournament.
Oh.
Yeah, and then you'll be flying your banner with the the white field with the red broken tower. Will be there. Here's one thing to consider. We've talked about the relationship with House. I should have written it down. House Mullendor at Uplands.
Mm-hmm.
if you are traveling the easiest route, or at least the most direct route, it'll take you near uplands, which means you may stay overnight there. But the welcome that you would you might receive, particularly trucking another rain along with you, that might make for a challenge. Although it's worth noting, one of the reasons why the Red Wedding was such a fucking shock and whatnot in the series is because it's unthinkable once you've shared salt with a guest of breaching that. Like, it's the kind of shit where legends say that the gods come down and damn you for betraying a guest. Mm-hmm. There's a story about one king up in the north who did that, and like there's a chef who forever ended up feeding his kids to him or something horrible like that. Like, it is a terrible, terrible outcome for that. So if they're willing to take you in as guests, that's somewhere you could stay and perhaps get some, resupply or whatever. But it also means you'll be passing through the lands of House Mullendor. So you may want to figure out how to do that unless you're traveling to Old Town and then sailing down to Sunhouse. Although that likewise would also be, for one, kind of expensive, which your family is not flush with. And secondly, there's probably going to be a lot of demand of ships taking people from Old Town to there if there's high tower money up for winning at the tournament. So other things you could do, Alia, as a endeavor, you could try and get up on the latest news.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you give us a challenging gossip check, please?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's bad news time.
Do you want to... This means you got nothing. There's no penalty for failing it. Do you want to spend a fortune and reroll?
No, I don't think I spent too much fortune already on
Got
this.
it.
So.
Okay, so you're asking around. There is nothing that comes from that. Sir Ridrick or Maester Willem? Maester Willem, here's an example of what you could do. You could research. If there's lore that you want to research about a specific subject or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea. I think I would like to do it on Sunhouse.
Okay.
See what I can figure out about, things that might come in handy. And I think before I do that, you just hear, like, from while we're watching somebody else, like there's in the background somewhere in some unseen hallway, you hear Maester Willem go, "I told you, Sir Byron, I don't have any money."
Just a loan.
So that would be what lore are you thinking of using?
Well, I have this talent. So separate to that, as I have this talent called Speed Reader. So which would come in if I have a failed research test.
So one other cool thing,
I would do research.
I don't think it's displayed properly on the character sheets here, but one of the neat things is if you see in the rule book, in the talents, it'll say tests underneath the things. That means whatever rank you've got in your talent, you get to add that as a success level on successful tests. So I was just going to check Speed
I've
Reader.
Got a 1, yeah.
Yeah, and Speed Reader, I wonder if it applies.
I can put it in the chat for you there too.
Yeah, see, like, unfortunately, it doesn't say what tests it applies to. I don't know. It could be because it doesn't.
Research test?
No, test. Yeah, research and language tests where speed reading is important.
Yeah.
So what that means is
research.
Yeah. So what that you're gonna. And sorry, what you're gonna roll research?
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
And then give us. You'll get up on a successful test. You'll get +1 success level on top of whatever you roll.
Okay, awesome. So at what difficulty?
Let's see here. I think it's average.
Average. Okay. Here we go. Let's see what happens.
Oh, it's actually the research. Yeah, make that roll. It says it's lore it
Okay.
uses, but we can be flexible with it.
Okay, cool.
Let's see. 7.
Holy sh!
Okay. So let me see what else I can tell you. One thing I can tell you is that it is expected that Lord Gerald Hightower is going to make a return for his sister's tourney. And Gerald Hightower is rumored to be one of the most accomplished knights, young knights. The Kingsguard is an absolute elite unit. It later falls into disrepute to some degree, but one thing to remember, like, because of, you know, the way Jaime is presented in it, it's easy to forget that he's one of the best swordsmen in all of Westeros. So, not for nothing,
Right.
he is a bit of a questionably moral character, or a complicated character at least. Well, you know, I don't think his reasons for killing the Mad King are unjust at all. But the thing is, in terms of like capability as a knight, exceptional skills, and this is also Barristan Selmy is another one. Is there? Barristan Selmy is an exceptional young knight as well. He's said to be the best swordsman in Westeros of his generation. If Gerald is going to be returning, he may participate in the tourney, depending on whether his sister asks or not. Because
I see.
because the tournament is in her favor, she can grant her favor, or not in her benefit. She can grant her favor to whoever she wants, and you know, who doesn't want their big brother, the hero knight, to be their champion?
Yeah.
I mean, Sir Redrick would probably like that as well too. Sir Byron too, for that matter. Lots of money to be made from that. So that is one bit of things. What you also know is, let's see here. The old Lord Mullendor, Matthew Mullendor is his name. This is a kind of a big deal. Matthew Mullendor was witness to a tournament called the Tournament at Ashford Meadow. Couple of things are interesting about that particular tournament is, for one, in his role as, or guise as Aeg, the current king, King Aegon V, he was witness to the tournament that, at that tournament, remember the Fossaway split I was mentioning? That's where that happened.
Yeah.
Because some were, Sir Duncan the Tall, the head of the Kingsguard at present, he, it said, stood up for a peasant woman who was being abused or mishandled by one of the princes, the Targaryen princes. All the Targaryen princes stood on one side. Sir Duncan stood on his own. And he had other people come to their aid. One of the Fossaways went on the Targaryen side, betraying Sir Duncan, making it seem as if he was short-handed. But the one who stepped in was the expected heir, Prince Baelor. And at the end, Sir Duncan succeeded, but unfortunately, by his own brother's hand, Prince Baelor was struck dead.
Oh.
And they did not realize so until they took his helmet off and his brains fell out.
Jeez.
So the tournament at Ashford Meadow is one of the most consequential events for not only for the Reach in many ways, the split of the Fossaways, the involvement of Lord Matthew Mullendor. It's also resulted in the fucking death of a beloved prince who would have made an excellent, not for nothing, like some people are blaming the instability over the past however many years or decades because Baelor didn't become the king. One of Baelor's brothers, he's the one who drank fucking wildfire because he thought it would turn him into a dragon.
Oh, jeez.
It's just been nothing but trouble. And now Aegon seems to be going down the same Targaryen route. So this is all stuff, you know, parallels and messages and whatnot are all important to all sorts of lords. If there are ways to reference that in some kind of... It will no doubt be on Lord Muldor's mind, the events of Ashford Meadows. He didn't participate in the Grand Melee. He wasn't there when he died. But for whatever value you can make of that, your lord and the knights who are in service to you, there may be something of value by referencing that.
Yeah. No, that's great. Anything like this can come in very handy in these kinds of situations. So I'm literally like, and also because it's so insane, like these events that have transpired, that I'm like, I'm a speed reader too. So I'm like, and then what happened?
Yeah. So you've got, and it's imagine witnessing that and then trying to capture something with, because of I can't remember whose marriage it was at Ashford Meadows. I should have said in that little blurb, but where is it here? Here we go. Turning at Ashford Meadows. It was by House Ashford to celebrate his daughter's 13th name day. So, in any event, if any of that stuff is of value symbolically or whatever, this is the kind of things that people gossip about. Like, they want to talk about, like, you know, heroic deeds and incredible clashing of things, but like even like wearing a different color or using a specific weapon with a specific insignia on it, that's the kind of symbology or whatnot that really can telegraph meaning beyond just the pomp, and the performance at these tourneys can be as important as the actual clashing of steel.
That makes total sense. And I think because Willem is also a storyteller, he knows he can use things like this told in a certain way to manipulate people emotionally to get something to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, William is devious. I like it.
What are you talking about? I'm a bumbling young academic.
Of course you are. Wink.
So then, Sir Ridrick, what are you thinking? Like, depending, you said you were really training hard, but I think that was more a reaction to the news about your cousin, more so than wanting to be in tip-top shape for the tourney. Have I read that wrong, or is that?
I think that was Byron trying to get into shape.
By shaking down people.
that too. I think he's probably going to try and take care of his equipment, make sure everything is tip-top shape, just to make sure that no, nothing like brains falling out of helmets because of a bad blow happens to him.
Yeah. Do you have any training in craft for any kind?
Where is that? I don't believe so.
Okay, so what do we?
I got craftsman trade as one of my talents, but I don't see.
Yeah, hold on. Craft may not actually be. This is why I should look at the fucking awesome GM screen. You see, there is no trade craft. Did we pick a craft for you?
You didn't pick one, but you did give me a talent for it. This one.
Let's see here, craftsman trade. Oh, did you? I didn't put any points in it though. I don't think. I have
60 to spend, so I can do that now.
No, it's 5 XP fewer per advance. Oh, I see what you mean. You want some of the banked life experience stuff. Yeah, you could do that if you'd like. So then why don't we just treat it like make a challenging trade check.
For like what, armor smith or something?
Yeah.
Okay,
hold on.
smithing.
Actually, you know what? They have pretty good specified specialties in this. The game is incredibly well designed. There's a lot of stuff going on in the game, but like it feels like it's especially with the reworking of Advantage, rock solid. Smith is actually what would it be?
Oh, it's just Smith. Okay.
Just Smith. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and put. I think 5 of those will leave it up. So
I think that allows you to found a quasi glam rock Brit new wave band. Really reaching for that joke. So I appreciate the pity laugh, George.
No, still, I appreciate where you're going with it.
you said, what's the difficulty?
Difficulty is challenging, actually, for this one.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm
It's a
not that
good
great at
reward,
it.
though.
Oh, look at that.
Nice! Look at that! So
Wow.
here's what you can do. Once per session, or once per this adventure, you will be able to flip your dice on one test involving your gear.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. That's the combat training. So if you decided not to bully people for money, that's the other thing you could have done, Sir Byron. But, you know, you got some cash in fund. That gambling's not going to, you know, be funded with nothing.
So once per, I can flip my like the defensive.
Until we
roll
do
or
another
something?
endeavor, you're going to be able to flip your... So any attack or parry or whatnot, any contested melee roll, you're going to be able to flip the dice with it.
Okay, I'll put that in a condition area.
Okay?
We call well prepared.
So I think everyone's had an endeavor then. Then you guys will be heading out, I believe. Aaliyah and Maester Willem, you don't have horses, so they will loan you them. But each of Sir Ridrick and Sir Byron have both a riding horse and a destrier they'll be bringing with them. Timos will only be bringing a riding horse with him. They will also send along 2 squires for assisting Byron and Sir Ridrick getting in and out of their plate armor, because you just will not be fucking able to do that yourself. And you can't be dressing yourself at a tournament. That is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Den.
So I guess we'll be just wearing our mail on the road and plate at the tourney.
It depends on which route you're going. Like, your lands are not any more so or any more dangerous or less dangerous. There will be a bunch of other places to stay between here and, like, all of the Dornish March has other keeps and other places. They're not marked. The one that is of interest to us is the folks at Uplands, because, well, they're your neighbors and they are suspicious of you. So I should write their name. You should see my notes. They are so, like, absolutely indecipherable for today's. Oh, thanks, West of Eden. Gold dragons, silver stags, copper pennies. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Nice.
That's super helpful. I want to write that down. Not on the fucking mess that is my notes. I'll put it down separately.
So what do you say? Silver stags?
It's gold dragons, silver stags, and copper pennies.
Nice.
Yeah, because we'll just use the currency for and costs out of Warhammer Fantasy, but just, you know, call them that. Okay. Then let's see here. Is there anything else you need to do before you set out? I think it's the. What are you guys planning on doing with the folks at House Up or at the Uplands? Do you want to take the long way around there, or are you planning on making nice with them? What do you think?
I'll
I
always
prefer
make nice
to
with
go around.
I'll make nice, but if we go around, that wouldn't be any scale.
No. You are the worst person to make nice with them. No.
Sorry,
No,
you know
no,
what,
no.
guys? I'm sorry. I clicked on the wrong thing. Everything I told you about Mullendor, that's the Lord of Uplands.
Oh.
So that's everything you know about the person you're going to. Do you think there's anything to be gained in trying to... I will tell you this, the Uplands is the closest keep to the Black Tower. If, Aaliyah, if the rogue Rain had any Confederates, that would be one of the closest places to go.
Yeah, but I'm confused now. I think we were going to Sun.
Yeah, you're going to Sun House, which is House Kui. I confused them.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay.
So let me tell you if there's anything.
Now you confused me about confusing them. So, who are we? Who is Sir Rain having a problem with? The Uplands or the House Kui?
Sir Rain would not be welcomed by House Mullendor in the Uplands.
Okay, in the Uplands. Yeah, okay. So there was no confusion.
No confusion. Uplands. What I confuse is that what I told Meister Willem was looking into the thing. All that shit I told you about the attorney at Ashford Meadows. That's the guy who and the family that runs or that owns Uplands. That's House Mullendor.
We should probably avoid them then.
Yeah, I think
they're not an enemy yet, though.
Yes, yet. That's the point. Yes.
So the trouble will be then you would need to find either a ford or a ferry down here, and then make your way through kind of the center to avoid them. You certainly could do that.
Yeah, wouldn't it be? Yeah.
Isn't Sir Byron pretty familiar with the lands? Wouldn't he be able to survival us a way across?
Well, you can't just. I mean, it's a river. You would need to. You guys are carrying plate armor, and I'm not sure all of you can swim.
I can swim.
No. We don't want to swim. Certainly not.
So let me correct one thing here.
No, I was just thinking that maybe there was some kind of ferry or boats, and we could use a boat down the river, and then go on shore. I don't know, about here or something.
Think about getting to Old Town and then getting across.
Yeah, I think there must be some boats just streaming along the river here, I would suppose, and then you could go there. But it doesn't matter. I mean,
well, no. The trouble with that though is that then you guys you're not one of the richer houses, and the price and the amount of available places on boats going from Old Town to Sun House, that's going to be in high demand, and you guys just don't have the money to be able to buy your way onto one.
Okay, yeah.
That's why you guys are going over land.
Okay. Yeah.
I think maybe they might have a bridge or something at Old Town. We could just take across the river and then go.
Oh, I mean,
I think for Old Town we had to cross another river, so
have a bridge there,
yeah, that would be even worse. So yeah, okay.
Now, again, not to say it's impossible. There's got to be some, at the very least, ferries along the river that you'd be able to take. So it's not impossible. It's just you are going a long way around to avoid right now non-hostile family. And Aaliyah, if you're so leery of going there, you're never going to be able to find any connections that the road may have had.
I totally understood. So let's go to Uplands. Yeah, okay.
Sir Ridrick?
Well, honor dictates I must treat them chivalrous, so I will outwardly complain about going there.
So then, everything I told you about Ashford Meadows, that applies to the Lord of Uplands, Maester Willem. So if there is anything you might want to consider when traveling there, you're free to.
Okay. Sorry, Kevin, I might have missed it. Where on the map are we headed?
So you guys are eventually down to Sun House.
Yeah. Oh, down there. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that is where the sunflower tournament of sunflowers. I think I've called it like 3 different things over the course of the session, but in fairness, I imagine that's actually also a little nod to Sun House, which apparently was called 2 different things in 2 different places. So it is canonical that they confuse the names.
That's good.
That's where you're headed eventually. What we're talking about is whether I confused the house House Kui, which is the Lord of Sun House, with the Lord that I was talking about, who is the Lord of Uplands.
Right. Okay.
I guess it would be a way of learning whether or not they're sending anybody too. If they're sending anybody to the tournament, you can imagine why they might be either real, like, it's a tragic thing that he would have witnessed, but it's also legends were made at that tourney.
Right.
You know? So
yeah, perhaps we could travel with them if they haven't left yet.
quite possible.
If you say that, you'll get a side eye from Richard.
So then, let me look at one thing here, guys. We might make one more roll before we call it a session here. Why doesn't... Let's see here. Sir Byron, why don't you give us a D10 roll, please?
You got it. Ooh. Could be good, could be bad.
You had some good rolls this session, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, they've been pretty good. I can't complain today.
If only we had played one of those free league systems where you had the 6 sixes on the first roll. That would be awesome.
So, when you guys are setting out, it seems as if some really nasty storm has blown in from the Red Wine Straits and almost like follows the river up to smash up between where you guys are traveling, and the mountainous kind of passes around those rivers towards where Uplands is. Would you each give us an endurance check at average, please? Huge. Redrick, that's amazing.
This is Timos' first heavy storm while we're on the horses.
Is endurance one of the...
Oh, one of your
Main-
skills, not one of your stats.
Oh, it's a skill.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay. Sorry, what was the
It is average.
average? There it is. Oh, no!
I'm
Oh, no,
gonna...
Mr. William.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
fortune that.
roll.
It's a good
Yeah.
call.
Yes, I am. Come on.
There it is.
You have to lean into it.
Come on, Sir Byron.
Oh, man.
Okay. So Meister Willem survived. Oof.
I
Leah,
imagine...
you gonna blow that
with my
last...
s-
Yeah, come on. I mean, the last minute.
Good. Yep.
Yeah. So, can only get worse, can't it? So, yes.
There you
Ooh,
go. So Jeff, you were saying?
Oh, can I spend more than one on the
No,
same
you
roll?
get one
yeah.
reroll. You
Okay, that's what
could
I thought, yeah.
spend. You could burn a resilience.
No, I
Mm,
think this is just an example of sort of his station amongst everyone, and the fact that he's the biggest and the strongest is just like he's got the heavy load for sure that is being carried
Yeah, yeah.
here. So
Yeah, I think you got a horse that wasn't used to it, and it's just riding you wrong.
that's probably
So then, if
true
you
as
put down
well.
a condition, Sir Byron, you are fatigued.
Oh yeah.
You will need to, as you are arriving, because the weather is just awful. But unfortunately, guys, that brings us to the end of our session. So, first off, as is always the case in our Warhammer, or I'm sorry, it looks like it reads Westeros Fantasy Roleplay. Everyone gets 100 XP, so you can put down 100 XP under the. If you go to the advancements tab on the right, there's a place where you can add in XP. Where it seems like where a lot of the players do, they put down like session 1 or session whatever. Put a number of XP, and it'll add to your total of unspent. Just make sure you don't.
We can
Current XP, you said?
check.
It
underneath
is
that, Jeff, under experience awards.
under awards. There's like XP or experience awards.
Yeah, experience awards.
Your first one should say like life experience. You got to hit a plus sign to add another line.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there you go.
Oh, there.
And can we spend these between sessions?
Absolutely. Our next session is in 9 hours. So feel free to. Then, first off, a huge thank you to our stalwart players. Everybody learned what we were playing about an hour and a half or two before the session. Some even shorter because they were waking up at 3 in the fucking morning to play. So, a huge thank you to the players. This was I have been fucking itching to get this idea to the table, and I had so much fun running this for you guys. So, thank you very, very much. For those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for our first session of the Westeros Fantasy Roleplay Adventure, Coming of the Nine. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, the couple of adventures we're playing, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. Once again, we're using Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition from Cubicle 7 as the core for this adventure, and then we used the rules out of the Song of Ice and Fire role-playing game from Green Ronin as the generation, what do you call it, house generation system. There's also a link down below in the description of the video to the Dungeon Musings Discord server where all of us are active, and we have channels there dedicated to this game. We have our Warhammer games listed on there, as well as most other campaigns and games we run on the channel. There's a GM discussion channel, virtual tabletop chat, convention chat. There's a terrific, helpful, knowledgeable, and friendly community over there. You're more than welcome to join us. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. The Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have an incredible selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs, like a Song of Ice and Fire RPG. If they don't have something in stock that you're looking for, you can put it on a want list and they'll send you an email when it comes in. And if you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code Happy Muse Year. It's listed in the description of the video. It's easier to type than it is to say, and it'll save you 10% on any purchase of $10 or more. That discount code will change as of April 15, 2025. So if you're listening to this at a later date, come back to one of our more recent videos and you'll see what the current discount code is there. The last thing I will say is a huge thank you to our stalwart heroes. So, Jeffrey, Ingolf, John, and George, thank you so much for joining me today, guys. This was so much fun to prep and to run, and you guys did such a great job of bringing the house and these characters to life. What a very fun Westeros experience, so thank you very much. For those listening at home, we'll be back in a couple of hours to play part 2 of this. So we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our members of House Sergeant are encountering and learning about, and they seem to be multiplying. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.